blue Sundays. Nothing was open. Movie theaters, restaurants, everything was closed. And I died of loneliness, and I was just, I didn't know that I'd make it as an actor, and it was cold. It was so damp and cold and and I lived in a 5-flight little room up on the names that beginning to, like, Gerard? No, it's Gerard. You're pronouncing it incorrectly. And on Gerard Avenue, somewhere near where the CDC was, on Church or something like that. So I lived in a room the size of this chair, with a bed that had a rope. It had interlaced rope as the mattress, and I would get out of there as quickly as possible because it was so depressing. And there was a hotel on what's maybe a couple of streets that are on Church and now between Jarvis, one over. What was that? It was a French name. What? Sherborne. I've been trying to think of the name of the street. It's kept me up for 3 nights. And it was all like, what is it? Sherborne. There was a Hotel Sherborne. Hotel Sherborne, where you could get for $1 or $2 or $3, all you could eat for dinner. So I was so broke that I wouldn't eat anything all day, and ended up at the Sherborne Hotel and stayed in line with all the guys, everybody who needed to eat all they could eat with their families and everything for $2 or $3, and you could just pile with all the potatoes that they had. And so I was able to exist from 6 to about 8:30. It was a family hotel, all you could eat. Like you came in the lobby, and on the left-hand side was the cafeteria. On the right was a bar, and it was closed from 6 to 8:30. At 8:30, the bar opened, the cafeteria closed. The hotel changed character. In the bar, girls of the night were working. And I had nowhere to go. I didn't know anybody. I didn't want to go back to that room. So I would sit at a table with the girls, and they'd leave the table, go upstairs and come back, continue the conversation. And I made some of my best friends. The girls of the night. The one story that I remember, though, which still stays with me, and you'll understand why. So, for 3-4 months, in desperate loneliness and trying to find work in Toronto, I made friends with these ladies. And then I got busy, and I met people, and I wrote some shows for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and I met the girl who became my wife on one of the shows I wrote for the CDC. So now I've got this other life. I've got this girl whose parents lived in that rich section of town. Okay, I moved up, and I go to Stratford. I become a Stratford actor, and I asked this beautiful girl to marry me, and she says yes. They're going to have a big wedding up in that section of town. And now, one day, one evening, we're in a theater on Yonge Street. We come out of the theater, my 2 prospective in-laws, the mother and the father, and the girl. Okay, and the girl became my wife. We're waiting for a car. And there comes a lady of the night walking the street on Main Street. And I see her. And she sees me. She was my best friend for months. And I see her. And she looks at me, and I look at her, and without a sign of recognition, so professional, she she walks by. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I say hello? And how do I explain that to my in-laws and prospective in-laws? And she leaves. As she gets to the edge of the light of the theater, she turns around and she looks at me, and I look at her. And in that moment, I could have said, hi, I've forgotten her name now. Hi, Rosie, I'm so good. Anything to have indicated the friendship, the gratitude I felt for her and her friends for saving my life during those terrible months. I didn't say a thing. I was so ashamed, embarrassed, and I didn't know what to do with these new in-laws, prospective in-laws. So I didn't do anything. To this day, I think of that with regret, that I wasn't true to myself. And so when I come to Toronto, every time I come to Toronto, all these places have memories for me. Downtown Toronto, which I haunted because there was nowhere else to go. And striving to find work at the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. All of Toronto has memories, both good and sad for me. And here I am talking to you this afternoon. So I think we set up a question going on. Where are you with a microphone and a question? Is there a thing? Do we know? Do we have a hand? Is there no setup? Okay, I'll do it myself. Once again, raise a hand and ask me a question. Raise a hand. You can't raise a hand, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, ask me a question. Do I do my own what?
Twitter account. Is that you?
Twitter. Do I do my own Twitter? You know I do. Now, I've got a lot of stuff going, all right? This whole social media thing, I'm going to be on a program called, it doesn't matter whether I know the name of the program. Sit down and maybe talk some financial program, okay? Because of the Twittering I do, and the Facebook, and all of the social media that I'm involved in. First, the premise is I know nothing, right? I'm ignorant. I don't know quite how to do any of it. So I've got a really good guy who helps me. So I say, this is what I want to say, and he spreads it out. Literally, how to, I mean, it doesn't take anything to do a Twitter or a Facebook, but there's so much involved that I have help from Paul. So I'm going to appear on this program in 3 or 4 weeks, like I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea. I just know that this whole social media things that for anybody over 25 is foreign territory is really the sign of the future. I was at one of these Comic-Cons a while ago, and I was sitting at a table with 3 young guys. One was 12, one was 14, one was 16 years old. And the screams of fans deafening in the audience were for these 3 guys, and I didn't know who they were. And they were looking at me, and they didn't know who I was. So I said to somebody, who are these guys? And they said, they're the Vines. The kids on the Vines? I said, you mean they make wine? No, these kids, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so they're like 6 seconds, right? 6 seconds on a Vine. It's not 140 characters in the Twitter. It's all these names. They're very difficult. Vines for 6 seconds. You can't say goodbye in 6 seconds. Hello, my dear.